Good morning, folks. I want to greet each and every one of you today in the name of the Lord. As you are probably feeling the same kinds of things I am, I look forward to us being able to come back together and worship together. Don't know exactly what that's going to look like, but it will be different than what we had before, at least starting out. And so we're doing our best to gather up information. Our governor has not yet told us what those stipulations will be, but we're gathering facts and we're gathering what other churches are doing in other states, trying to make sure that we can provide for the health and the well-being of our fellowship and our members. So just continue to pray with us and pray for our nation that we can move forward and move through this time and get back to just reaching out and touching people. I think this experience has taught us this one thing: how much we need one another and how much we need to be interacting with other people and sharing our faith in Christ. You know, last week I talked about taking thoughts captive and how important it is that we do that instead of letting negative things come and just begin to bombard our hearts and our minds. But while I was thinking about addressing you today and just giving you a word of encouragement, I thought, Jesus had a lot to say about our words and what we do with our words. And of course, it's your words that come out of your thought processes. So we need to learn to take our thoughts captive. But I want you to see what Jesus said about our words and the power of those words. My first text is in Matthew chapter 12, verses 34 through 37. And it reads, Jesus speaking to the Pharisees, he says, "Brood of vipers, how can you, being evil, speak good things? For out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks." Out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. That's why we have to guard our hearts. We have to guard our hearts because out of our heart is where those words come from. And he goes on to say in verse 37, he said, "For by your words you are justified, and by your words you are condemned." It's so important that you and I, as believers and disciples of Jesus, follow after his instructions and his example, guarding our hearts, guarding our mouths, choosing our words wisely, and allowing those words to justify us instead of condemn us. There's another verse that's similar to that in Matthew 15:11, and that verse reads, "It's not what goes into the mouth that defiles a man, but what comes out of a mouth. This defiles a man." And so again, Jesus' words, him telling us that there's a right way for us to control our thoughts and our processes that we go through. And I am as responsible, and I call it guilty as anybody, as far as if you're not careful, you'll start speaking something and it just turns and goes off down its own little path. And then the next thing you know is, man, I shouldn't have said that. Well, this is a reminder to all of us, particularly with this pressure of feeling like we've been closed in on, and we're not having the freedom to just relax and enjoy ourselves in life as we have in the past. That doesn't give us permission to choose to act any certain way or to act ugly, is what my folks would have said when I was a kid. But we need to guard our hearts and we need to guard our mouths. I came into that process in reading the Psalms, and the Psalms 19 verse 14 says, "Let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in your sight, O Lord, my strength and my Redeemer." How powerful that the psalmist had learned when Jesus came along, he again spoke and reiterated. We want our hearts to please God. We want our mouths to please God. We want the things that we meditate on or dwell on, we want those to please God. And so, again, our relationship as we walk out our life on earth is with Jesus Christ, our Redeemer. And one day when we stand before him, these are the things that he's going to look to us for and look and check with us and check us on our words, our idle words, the things that happen in people's lives. And so I agree with the psalmist. I want the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart to be acceptable to the Lord. Until we come back together again, I just want to encourage you. Let's practice these simple truths, and let's let them serve us as we serve Him. God bless you is my prayer.